Hi everyone, good morning. It's Margaret Manning here and welcome to 60andMe. 60andMe is a community that reaches about 500,000 women over 60 all around the world. And it's amazing that we have people in 150 countries, and I just get up every day thinking how amazing it is that we have found each other. You know, that we have actually, in all the billions of women over 60 that are in the world, we found each other, and we're just spending time together talking about things that are important to us. And each one of you has a life that's unique and wonderful, and I'm just so glad that you share it with us here. And just for those of you who are joining us recently, you know, we have a website, 60andme.com, and also a YouTube channel with lots of videos and interviews with people that I have met over the years. We've been doing this now for about 4 years. And I have met some of the most amazing people, experts in areas, all kinds of interesting, from neuroscience to nutrition to retirement and reinvention. It's just been a really fun journey. And we also have a Pinterest page. We have a Twitter account for those who tweet, and Facebook. And I think we have now over 106,000 women on our Facebook community. You know, different things happen on all those places. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you that because I charge in every morning with my conversation, and I realized a lot of you are new here and you don't know much about 60andMe, and welcome. I just am so glad you're here. And for those old timers, old timers in the kind of fun way, old timers, just tell a friend. You know, the more women we can reach and connect with, the stronger our voice becomes. And all of the issues that we have around stereotypes, discrimination, ageism, we have a stronger voice if we're in it together. So please feel free to share 60andMe with your friends and family, and we'll just do this as much as we can. So I'm having my cup of tea this morning. I've got, it's actually a tea called cherry tea. It's called, I think it's this fantastic cherry. And the area that I live in Switzerland is super famous for its cherries. So every year we have big cherry festival and cherry cake, and there's about I don't know, 6 or 7 varieties that I've tasted, and they are all different. Anyway, so my cherry tea is my celebration for Switzerland and for the cherries that grow here. But I'm sure in your region, you know, you've got unique things too. So, you know, we all think, oh, it's great to be here or there, but we all have our special place. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about travel because I love it. And this is not going to be a boring old one about travel that we've talked about before. This is something new because I'm going to use my magic wand. Seriously, we have a great blogger, Lynn Claire, and she's the travel girl. So she's based in Denver, and she writes about travel, and she just wrote a great little piece that reminded me about some of the reasons I love to travel and some of the reasons I don't like to travel. But maybe you've got your list as well. But the most important thing about travel is it kind of goes back to when I had my kids. I used to pretend quite seriously that I had a magic wand. I used to say, this is my magic wand, and whatever problem was facing you, I'm going to just, and the kids loved it, and it was, of course, just a little joke. But then as they got older, I really wished I did have a magic wand, and that I could wash away or wipe away some of their negative experiences and things as they grew up that, you know, affected them. And I'm sure you moms can relate to that, and also people who have dealt with, you know, younger people in their lives and colleagues, that you just want somehow things to be good. So travel is one of these things that I wish I had a magic wand, because if things are going to go wrong, they actually will go wrong when you travel, and the unexpected is kind of a given. But anyway, a positive attitude always helps, and that's the thing that we're going to talk about here, because Lynn gives an example of some travel challenges she's had, and I mention them because they're really similar to ones I'm sure we have all had. And so the first thing to say about travel and dealing with stress is that you can control it. I mean, there are some things that you can do to get a grip on the travel experience. I mean, one, like we've talked about before, is to get to the airport or to the train station or, you know, whatever, early. Just give yourself time. Don't rush. And, you know, usually, well, I'm an extreme because I start packing weeks before my trips. But you know, for you, you might want to just get to the airport at like 3 hours early. even though you know you only need to be there maybe an hour and a half, just take an extra time. And there's so much fun stuff at the airport to do. Like you can just watch people rushing and thinking, I'm not doing that. Or you can, watch families, people greeting, hugging, saying goodbye. It's a poignant place, airports. And I just think that it's a great way to, to use that extra time if you've got it. And then if you've got delays, again, see them as part of that process. As an opportunity to meet a new friend or read a book, or you just anticipate things that could go wrong. And then just switch on that positivity lens so that instead of being, depressed and writing in your Facebook page how awful it is, just say, I'm delayed 2 hours, but I'm gonna try that new ice cream that's down the one of the shops. Or I've just met this really cute little kid that I'm playing with, and I'm reading some stories to help his mom who's exhausted. Whatever. I mean, I think it's just a time to be creative. Now, another thing to do is to have patience. And it is actually the same thing almost. Patience is a virtue when things go wrong on the road. And I think that, again, it's a good idea to always have plan B, C, D, always have that plan. But to take the opportunity when things, put a challenge in front of you, to actually make the best of it. And it's the lemons and lemonade, right? But I mean, patience is a virtue. Now, I must admit that things can go really right. And I just made a note here that you can make new friends when you're being delayed, but it just slipped my mind to the memory of being in Bali, where I met these people on a train, on the plane. They were sitting next to me, so there were 3 of us in the row, and we were delayed for some time, and we got to chatting, and then we finally took off, and it was a long journey, and by the end of the trip, we knew each other pretty well. We had, because we started with that delay causing us to chat with each other. And so we were in a common zone. And anyway, so that was wonderful. And we said goodbye. And I was in Bali for 6 weeks. And on the almost last day of my trip, I was walking in the market, and there's hundreds of people. It's super busy. And who should walk towards me? I'm serious. These 2 people. And they remembered me. I didn't recognize them. And they said, are you the person that we sat next to on our flight? And it was just unbelievable. And it was like the universe was going click, click, click. And somehow I just had to meet them again. So we had a coffee and we chatted about our journeys. And they had actually not come to Bali until the last few days. They had traveled elsewhere. So it really was like a serendipity. So I think that that's kind of fun, that, don't find a positive side to delays, and you never know, something like that could happen. It was really special. It was actually kind of strange, but this is what certain places, the power that they have to bring people together. Sometimes it takes a little bit of an sort of planned route to get there. So that was cool. Another thing that her name Lynn recommends is don't panic. Don't panic. Whenever you're in that moment where you're just like, you've lost your boarding pass, you can't find your backpack, or your phone is on low battery and you don't have a plug, don't panic. Don't panic. The best response is to get creative. And you would be surprised how creative you can get when you're under pressure and when you're missing something. Now, I've never lost my phone, but I have actually been in a situation where I've lost battery. And I don't know how that happens, but 1 minute it's got 90 points and then it's down to 10. And again, wonderful opportunity to talk to someone and just look at someone who's using an iPhone or whatever brand you've got and just say, would you mind terribly if I just used your charger for just 10 minutes? It would just give me a little bit extra juice to make a couple of phone calls I have to make. And again, people will ask, I mean, Lynn says to wave confidently the travel wand. And I think that's the secret, is just to know that it's going to be okay. That whatever, we always have to be in complete control. And I think that's our challenge, is that when we're not in complete control, we start to lose our sense of humor, and also we start to make mistakes. And we think that we know every aspect, everything that we need to know. And sometimes we don't. I think that's really important. But don't panic. I mean, there are things you can do, having said that help you with your panic. So for example, I haven't got one next to me, but I always wear a little wristband. I showed it to you before. And it's just a little thing that slips on your wrist, and it's got a zip on the top. And inside there, you can put your passport, copy of your passport, copy of your flight details. And I always put the numbers of my family members and friends, like 5 or 6 people. Because once I did actually leave my phone somewhere and I had no idea what my son's phone number was. Seriously. I mean, like I'm sure like you just don't remember phone numbers anymore. So having it on my wrist, knowing that if everything got lost, I wouldn't have to panic. I keep $20 or 20 francs in there too, so I can always get a coffee or even get to a taxi to somewhere safe if I'm in trouble. And it's just a good idea to not panic, but be prepared. So that's great advice. I think that's good advice. Now, the golden rule is to basically always assess the situation and then decide what your appropriate response is going to be. To not always do what first comes into your mind. So Starbucks has become my favorite place at train stations and airports, or whatever you choose to be your place. I always choose to take a moment, go sit there, gather my wits, my things are safe around me, and then make a decision what to do. And I guess the golden rule that I was going to mention is just not to get rude or upset. It's so easy when you're traveling and you're tired and you are bored or frustrated to lash out at someone. It's the classic, do you know who I am? kind of, that a lot of people do. It's just, I've watched it happen, and really not talking nicely to the people who are working for the airline or the train station, and just feeling a superiority, which is that is not in my opinion, the right way. The golden rule is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Simple. I think that's just the greatest message in life. Live by that and no problems. But the golden rule plays out well when you're traveling. So be kind to people. I mean, that's the bottom line, is just be kind, because trust me, you don't know their story and you don't know what's going on with them. You don't know what's going on in their lives. And often they're going to a funeral. They may be going to visit family who are sick. They may have just had something happen to them. They may have just lost their job. They may be sick. Anything can be going on. And, to look at someone, you just don't know. So I think it's really super important to be kind to each other. And that's kind of the 60&me golden rule, isn't it? I mean, kindness is our basic human right. We may not think that everybody is kind, but give them the benefit of the doubt. I think that's a good way to approach it. And then if you have to make an adjustment to that, if something gives you the indication that's not true, then at least you've given it your first, the first effort. So I am going to get ready for my next trip. I hope that you've got something fun planned too. Maybe it's just a simple round the block, going to, taking a bus to the next town, or maybe you've got a cruise planned, or a flight somewhere. But I hope that you're okay. And my question is what experiences have you had while traveling that were unexpected? What unexpected experiences have you had when you were traveling that you'd like to share with us? Just leave your comments in the section below and we can have a conversation, and I like to join in these travel dialogues. They're always lots of fun. But anyway, wherever you travel, go safe and travel well, travel interesting. That's always the way that I like to approach it. And I am going to put my hat on. I am going off somewhere exciting. I don't know where yet, but I'll make up my mind. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.